That's right. It's Greasy Conversation time. Behold, we're there. We're here together.
Yep.
We're having an event.
We
We're
did
having
it.
a moment.
Congratulations, everyone.
Every week, it's a new adventure.
You survived.
That's the distant thunder of excitement on the horizon.
Yeah.
We have a totally fun guest popping in a little bit who's going to talk to us about time-traveling Trump more. And if you check out past episodes with this same guest, you can string the whole thing together. It's an adventure. But we've got the usual armload of news nuggets today, too. Do you have one you're excited about first, Greg?
Yeah, I'm running all over the warehouse, armful of news. Just dropping news stories willy-nilly all over the place.
Yeah, you're tumbling out of your pant legs.
Yeah, man. I got too many news. All right.
Any kind of nugget tumbling out of your pant legs is an interesting day.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now, this one, I gotta say, these guys probably get the award for, like, best business idea in at least the last 10 years. At least, if not further than that. All right. 2 men are convicted of running a synthetic marijuana ring in Nevada. A dude from Utah and a guy from Florida apparently rented out a warehouse here and ordered some chemicals from China that are used to make spice.
Oh, no. I thought spice was just over.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, weed's been legal here for like a year now, right?
Yeah, and it's been medically legal for way longer, like a decade.
Yeah.
Is this article linked in here yet? Did you throw it in the doc?
I can't. It might be toward the bottom. I don't remember if I put it in there or not.
I can't find the keywords of
I don't think so.
spice.
Yeah, I didn't put it in there.
Oh, okay. I just won't sweat it then. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing.
Right? Like,
And freak dangerous because, I mean, the whole idea is skirt laws with something like that, but then you have none of the FDA regulation. And they would change just like one molecule and all of a sudden it'd be extra deadly just to make it legal again.
Yeah, because they'll like outlaw this one variety of spice and then they just change like some of the chemicals in there while having it basically the same. But changing a few molecules can make it like really...
Change it so it sticks to some molecule in you and breaks it.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, people, it was really weird. Like, it would just affect different people in different ways, but like vastly different. Like, I mean, some people would just like immediately start coughing up blood and like having seizures and shit. Like, it's
freaky.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. And then there was some other. Oh man, I'll have to follow up, but kind of tangentially related. I can't remember where it was, but they were like all these like spice addicts, man.
Oh, just
people
hunting
got
down
like hooked
spice
on it.
Yeah.
And, like.
Sometimes it hit crazy hard.
Yeah,
that's
what
a different way.
Yeah, that's what I always heard is that like when it affects people, like it gets them really fucked up in a not like pot way.
And bath salts. Bath salts was a thing.
Yeah, I remember that. All the crazy stories are like that guy ate that other guy's face off. It was bath salts.
So I had this friend that he got picked up by the cops as a kid for distributing acid, and he got in trouble for this like a couple times. Just got like, and it was a small town. The cops knew him and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Listen, son." Pulled him aside, had a little whisper with him, and this cop was like, "What are the kids doing with all the borax? What are they? What drug has got borax in it? What are they making with the borax?" My friend had no clue.
What the hell?
We have no clue to this day what the kids were doing with the borax.
Yeah.
No idea what the hell borax is used in or anything. Soap? These kids were just making soap, like fight club status.
Yeah, you can use it to like as like ant repellent.
Yeah, they're just repelling ants, man.
Yeah, just kids out doing the good service of fighting the giant ants.
Good kids. Let them still stealing chemicals.
Yeah, that's a great like.
Lock down your borax.
Why won't the government tell us what the kids are doing with the borax?
We have a yo in from RJ. Yo, back to you, man.
Yo, RJ.
So what's another article that we can pull up on? Let's get one on the screen.
This one I found. I think I threw it in there at the bottom. This was one of my like. Yeah, it's second from the bottom.
Cool.
This is basically so. a bust of our good old boy King Tutankhamun, King Tutti Frutti, uh, was sold by an auction house, Christie's auction house, for $6 million. Not out of the ordinary. Like old antiquities like these can often be quite expensive, especially like an old Egyptian pharaoh. And the issue with this is that Egypt is alleging that this was stolen.
I knew it. I was going
Yeah.
to say, every time there's one of these things sold for a crap load of money, some government speaks up and is like, hey, this is actually like a national property.
Yeah, this was stolen like in the 70s. And so there's just like contention around. But this has happened before.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a lot of times when something that could be like I get a national treasure or, you know, surfaces that no one knew about. Because who knows, like, how long ago this could have left Egypt and, like, just been in some, like, rich person's family forever, and then someone inherited it. That's what they think happened here. The guy who, like, it was his son because the father has passed, but he owned it prior. But they think he just inherited it because he wasn't even interested in, like, art or anything like that, particularly. So.
Great, yeah.
I mean,
this Egyptian stuff got hella rated. This Egyptian.
Yeah, and I'm sure like many times, like a lot of archaeological sites get raided. It's actually like a pretty big problem.
Speaking of desert areas, we had an earthquake in Nevada.
Yeah, well, the earthquake was in California.
Oh, that's the deal. Because I was like,
Yeah,
I heard it
but
was a 7, and I've felt 6s back in California, and I didn't feel this at all.
Yeah, and like I guess
Guess it wasn't
some
that
areas felt a little bit of the wave, but I always heard people who said they felt it just thought they were having like vertigo for like a few, like however long it lasted.
That's totally what I thought from something that probably was just that I thought might be an aftershock. It's still unconfirmed.
Yeah, or you're like, oh, did I just get drunk all of a sudden for no
That
reason?
should be like a smartwatch feature, like earthquake versus vertigo, and just one light lights up or the other.
Yeah, right.
But the thing is, moving here, I thought one of my trade-offs for having worse weather than California was at least I could stack stuff up and have shit on my walls. And now, lo and behold, I could have it all crumbling down. I might not have that.
Any day now.
Yeah, just be buried in
Yeah, so hopefully
bric-a-brac.
any of our peeps in Cali are safe.
Hold tight.
Hopefully it didn't hit like largely populated areas. It happened in like Ridgecrest, I guess it was the central.
Oh, that's
Central.
not close to us.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah. So
Ridgecrest had it coming.
that's what you get, Ridgecrest.
I noticed you put a hail thing here, speaking of news things.
Yeah, this was just
Holy hail.
interesting. Yeah, this was in Guadalajara. And it was like a week ago. And just overnight now, keep in mind like it's been 90 degrees or above there for like most of the last month because it is the middle of summer.
It looks like everything's just buried in garbage. They're not even wearing
Yeah.
long sleeves.
Yeah, because it's probably still warm. Like they just had this like
Wow.
freak hailstorm overnight that literally like buried everything, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, the cars are like nose buried in what looks like white cement.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Is
look
it-
like snow. It's really weird.
Yeah, well, it was hail.
Yeah.
So it was just tiny little hail pellets that just built up over the whole night.
The
And
ball
then-
pit of the Lord.
Yeah, and then I guess as it like melted, it probably compacted and froze together all weird. But yeah, and then even to top this off is that when it all melted, it basically just turned into like a nice little rushing river in the middle of the street
Oh,
everywhere.
no.
So it was just shitty all around.
Oh, yeah, it's like floating on the top. This guy's
But-
trying to bicycle in it.
Just some more of that freak weather, man.
Yeah, we had the weirdest chill summer for a while where the summer wasn't hot for a bunch of it. Now it's back to normal temperature, but it's almost
Yeah, and it
over
even
now.
doesn't feel like that hot as it usually is. I don't know. Maybe my memory is just.
Actually, it's got to be 5 or 10 degrees less than last year this time.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because I was reading like 113 in my car every day, and I get to my car now, it's like 103, 105.
Yeah. No, it's been feeling to me like even the last like 10 years, like the season's just shifting later and later. Like summer's kind of starting later.
Yeah. Also, we had a record heat last summer, and it was the 8th year in a row that we made a new record for how hot. So
Yeah.
steadily getting hotter each year for 8 years, and then today, mystery eye of the storm temperature.
Yeah, I mean,
Spooky.
it's just Vegas. It's whatever. It's just too hot anyway. Just over 100, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah, just stay only out at night is the plan.
All right. And then I see you put this one in here about this.
Yeah, I'm suspensefully building it for it. You looked over all like spooky.
This 17-year-old who catches a toddler fall out the windows happened in Turkey,
I declare staged.
Istanbul. Yeah.
Okay, who saw this over the last week?
I did not. I missed it.
So this was a viral video going on over the previous, like since we did our show last, where there's this dude in Turkey and you see him looking up, and for some reason someone's already holding a camera with him centered in the shot. Look at this. So he's centered in the shot. He looks up. He's only looking about half from the height from the top of his head to his waist. That's the amount of distance that's above his head in the framing of the shot. Also, whoever's got this camera, maybe it's a security camera. It looks a little bit high res for a security camera in Turkey. No offense.
Yeah.
But it's that or someone's like up on a ladder. So I guess it's a security camera, but he positioned himself right in the perfect frame of the security camera. And then supposedly this infant falls from a second-story window, and he just happened to be ready to catch this kid.
Oh.
But he looked like he wasn't like worried that a kid was about to fall on some ledge. He looked like he was preparing to catch a kid he rehearsed catching. And so he's being made out as this hero, and it was like every other post in my Apple News feed.
Yeah.
And I watched it a couple times, and damned if this doesn't look like it checks a lot of staged boxes. When someone's well framed, that seems staged. When someone seems less surprised than they should be, it seems staged. When you see the kid afterwards, this kid is so docile and spacey that it looks like the kind of kid that you could get to act calm as you dropped it from a 1-story balcony.
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids are thrown up in the air by their parents and caught. And if you're a kid that's already been used to your like dad throwing you up and catching you, a 1-story drop is like nothing. It's only like a couple feet more than that, especially if you see someone below with their arms up. And he puts his arms up with enough time for this kid to see the arms up and mom to lean over the handrail of just 1-story and just gently drop this kid. Feet first, mind you.
Yeah.
If you're like a toddler, you probably wouldn't fall off a ledge feet first if you're playing around on a ledge. Plus, what toddler's that brave?
Yeah.
Besides Eric Clapton's kid, R.I.P. I know.
Oh,
it's
damn.
too soon. But yeah, he got a good song out of it. That Tears in Heaven song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night, sweet prince.
Yeah. So this kid, they show the dude, they show the kid. Look at how chill this kid is. This kid's not a window jumper. Look at the kid's just.
Yeah.
It's like a kid that's used to being tossed around and also is like super calm anyway. Just like perfect kid to drop feet first for some viral attention.
And this seems like, being at a stage, like, of course, I'm sure a lot of social media things.
No one else has
are
said
like,
it's staged though.
No?
No one's that I've found.
Yeah, so it's not, it seems staged. So it's not like
Yeah.
legit 100% verified stage.
We might be scooping it though.
Yeah.
We might be some of the first people declaring staged before this is outed. Or just everyone's going to forget about it and we'll never get the credit.
Yeah, we'll never know. But it just, and like how this went viral, like a lot of viral campaigns are like very purposeful.
Yes.
Very deliberate.
Yeah,
and
somehow this was ready for news media. They knew right away who to post it to. The shop owner had the video ready from the security camera, like no problem. If it wasn't someone with a phone.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit high up, unless someone's on a ladder. But
or like standing on something and just like kind of angling down. Yeah, I see that.
it's just too perfect of a shot.
Yeah.
It's not like off to the side or anything. It's like so stagedy. I mean, even the premise is odd. We don't hear about toddlers hopping off of ledges very often. let alone, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, what kind of shit parent do you have to be to, like, just let your kid wander off the ledge of a balcony?
No offense, Eric Clapton.
Yeah, some offense, but, you know, whatever.
No offense, but maybe there should have been offense.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh man, this has got to come back up with BG, but I got to tease that there's a laser heartbeat ID that'll replace facial recognition now.
Yeah, just effing great.
So there won't be a need for security cameras to recognize your face. They'll be just invisible lasers that can just aim at you and know exactly who's where.
But do you think you could, like, do some training, some meditation, some, like, deep meditation where you learn to, like, slow your heartbeat,
Yeah.
you know, so you can learn to kind of control your heartbeat?
Or like change the little shape of it a little bit, like just beat your heart, like get that
just a little
Zen
bit different.
focus, and
Yeah.
so you can pretend like copy someone else's heartbeat.
Yeah. You got, like, heartbeat doppelgangers, heartbeat imposters.
Dang, 200
man.
meters away, even through clothes.
That's nutty. Like, that just isn't okay. That's some serious, like, sci-fi, like, Philip K. Dick, Big Brother shit
Yeah,
right there.
it would mean that urban travel cannot be anonymous. But already, I mean, you hide someone in a car in the right places, and anyone can be tracked enough already.
Yeah.
But with it streamlining it, what risks does that cause? And because they have it, there's going to be like last year's model left in a dumpster, and then anyone can track you and find out when it's good to rob your house or something.
Yeah,
I'm
but then,
skipping some steps here.
but yeah, like, there would have to be, like, a database of, like, heartbeats and stuff. I don't.
Oh, that's true. The
You
poll.
know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It just seems weird. Who's gonna, like, volunteer for that?
Who's going to make the first artificial heartbeat suit?
Oh man.
Dibs. Copywritten.
Copywritten. Dibs. I had dibs. You left the heartbeat suit in the apples.
Yeah, I'm leaving that tab up. I want to know.
Yeah, we
BG's
should
take
definitely
on
go back to that.
What's the next one? What's the next one you had? I like that we're chugging because we often like run out of time now. I like that we got this format fast paced now. Oh, hold on. And now. Ooh.
Oh yeah, this is a great one. All right, so the producer of Wolf of Wall Street,
Oh yeah.
the movie about Jordan Belfort, who ripped off a shit ton of people.
Via Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Time.
So this guy basically he was arrested for money laundering charges from this large investment firm which was started by his father, who was the prime minister of Malaysia previously. So it was this huge investment firm, and they apparently stole like $4.5 billion
Dang.
from the fund. So that's
What's able to ring? Oh, that's my laptop. I bet you BG's here. Hold on.
oh yeah. Ding.
I apologize, people that think something's ringing. Is that it?
No, it's on. So I have Facebook tabs open.
Oh, it's on the Facebook tab. Oh. Mute that tab. Mute. That side is muted. Come in. Holler at everybody while I'm invited in.
Yeah, so that's what happens when we have visitors, just so everyone can be alerted equally. So there's no surprises here. Total transparency, just like the government. Just like when everyone visits the White House.
So that's
You
something
also
else to put
know-
on the checklist.
You also know that whenever anyone visits us, you'll know when we
Yeah.
know.
I'm sorry, everyone listening that checked your phone, because that's what happens when that sneaks in. I remember to put my phone on silent, but I forget. You've got Greg's
Yeah,
at my
'cause I
computer, but there's a way to mute notifications, and I need to put that on my checklist. It turns out.
Well, we learn something every day. Sometimes.
Yeah, he'll watch this back later and be like, I touched from a distance.
Yeah, so that was that basically. I think it's just this multi-layered like art imitating life,
Yeah,
life imitating art again.
definitely. What's up? Oh, I forgot to tell you in the other room, time. Yeah, but you
What
saw
up?
Jay. I hope he didn't scare you. Yeah, pop on in. Yeah, this is the new setup. There's camera time all around. That set of cameras shows what's on the RadioVegas.rocks YouTube and Twitch, and Jay's personal profile. What we got going on here is what's on my Facebook profile and the Greasy YouTube and Twitch, which I highly recommend everyone toss us a sub. It's hard to get those subs.
Subs are everything.
Yeah, it's trying to earn it. So, BG, welcome.
Yeah.
We're talking about this guy that was the producer of The Wolf of Wall Street that now is like in trouble for money laundering, as if he didn't learn.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he
producing that movie.
stole $4.5 billion from an investment firm that was like started
4.5
by
billion?
his father, who was also the prime minister of Malaysia previously. I don't know if like his pops was in on it, but dude,
That's not a small amount of money.
nah.
So, what do you think about the Pentagon having a laser that can identify people by their heartbeat from 200 meters away?
I pretty much, I believe they already have satellites that can do the same thing.
I don't know. There's a lot of jumbly air from space to get that laser time.
Yeah.
But I figure if it can do it from that distance, it's just a matter of time
You gotta
before
think our cell phones
whatever
go to
distance.
satellites in space and GPS position. So it's pretty much just
Yeah, some signal can make it over there. And then with what Elon's launching to bring internet from space, from a lower Earth orbit,
Yeah.
the Starlink setup,
Yeah, I
that's
heard
going to be a
about that.
trip.
Yeah, it is.
But that's going to be really good to democratize information
yeah.
for
'cause
underprivileged
right now,
people too.
Like, internet censorship is definitely on a rise.
Yes,
To where it's like,
you're at the you're a victim of your provider.
Yeah, and the thing is now too, with like Facebook and then, the Alex Jones ban, that's just the first of, many. Because
Deplatforming.
there's no like
Yeah.
congressional approval. It's literally, we're just going to ban you. And they can pretty much, have any reason to do it.
It's weird the tone of that, where the concern is no congressional approval. The government's not touching it. When
Yeah.
we were kids, we were raised that like, oh no, it's got to be little government. All the terrors were big government having control.
Yeah, yeah.
So we just grew up in this environment where government was stripped of more and more control, and then businesses just stepped in.
Yeah,
So we just
exactly.
handed over that control that we didn't want big government to have over to big business, and it's the
Exactly.
same
Which
amount
is-
of yeah.
Yeah, which is almost worse because they're just in it for profit.
And there's
so-
no obligation to
Yeah.
be transparent either.
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Yeah, and they're like less regulated, especially these types of companies like Facebook. I mean, because
man.
it's all like it's. I mean, it's like old, but it's new territory as far as like what should you regulate?
Well, yeah, according to Time, I mean, it's brand new. It's like just over 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
We entered the era of social media because like MySpace was powerful, but it wasn't like social media is now.
Yeah,
to where
yeah,
it like
for
can
sure.
dictate governments. And Facebook's even, I saw that they're announcing their own cryptocurrency. So
Oh,
it's
really?
called Libra. So like they're like trying to release their own currency now. So
Damn.
it's like it's a whole
Another-
different game as far as that goes, because it's like, all right, now they're going to try to release their own revenue stream or like literally their own dollar called the Libra coin.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, what's the bigger juxtaposition that's going to lead to?
Well, it sounds
know?
like a nation, for better or for worse. When America was created as a nation, it was a good thing and was a good example to future nations. And I'd like to be optimistic that Facebook might be on a path like that, and Google might continue on a path pretty altruistic like that, but we don't know. There's no transparency.
The thing is, too, man, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, Joe Rogan brought up a good point, too.
well,
He's
even
like,
Google's getting corrupt.
yeah, and he brought up a good point with even YouTube. He's like, you think about, are there any other platforms on the World Wide Web that really give platforms? It's like, you think of YouTube, Twitch is coming up, a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's like YouTube is running the game.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no other, there's no...
There's no checks and
There's no
balances.
checks and balances whatsoever. So it's like, and then when it comes to plagiarism and like even uploading music, they have so many channels that are like, just putting people's music up the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's pretty much like a LimeWire or Napster, but they're so big that you can't even strike them down. So it's like, they've literally grown to the point where it's like, I know so many guys that come to the studio and they'll just rip beats off of YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, literally copy the link, rip the MP3.
The thing, though, is the algorithm in YouTube, if it's anything copyrighted at all, cuts it right away. But there might be too many people doing it for them to keep up
Yeah,
with.
exactly.
Yeah.
But now they've got it, this year, they've got it to the point where, say, if we streamed anything with copyrighted music, our stream would be cut off in progress. And it's happened with our music shows, even though the station is licensed. There's no avenue to show our license to YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
And show that we've got the CSAC and all that going on.
That makes sense.
And ASCAP and all
Yeah.
that. We're giving them money, but YouTube doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is a lot of work that YouTube's doing to help artists and content creators get this shut down and stop those things with their algorithm. But now we have the opposite problem where people are abusing it.
No,
so
exactly.
That was that latest YouTube controversy where people are doing a copyright strike, and during the time at which they could acknowledge the dispute, so the creator disputes it.
Yeah.
Then during that time, they just say, there's a certain way you can do it where the money doesn't get held in escrow.
Yeah.
So like a good disputer will just dispute it in a way that it gets held in escrow. And I don't remember the exact details, but they can do it in a way where it just sits there, and then everyone that saw the video, you don't get any of that ad revenue while during that time it's disputed.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
It's really malicious, and they need to
But the
lock
thing
that in.
is, too, it's like because like they're so large with the information that they're gathering from everyone, because it isn't like they just have search engines with Google, and then it isn't like they don't have everybody's email. On top of having everybody's email and your search engines, they're also even getting all the video content from YouTube. So they're basically, as far as big data goes, like big data doesn't work to make predictive analysis if you have a small amount of information.
Yeah,
but when you have the amount of information that Google has, that's when you start entering like these oral type situations, because it's like they legitimately have almost the world's consciousness on their hands.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, and the thing is too, like we grew up in an era where there was no internet. So it's like, you got to think they're going to know kids that are in the internet now from basically birth until whenever.
Yeah, from whenever
So
you're
it's
like
like,
little
yeah.
kids with
So
a
like,
tablet.
yeah, I mean, look how predictive it is with us, and they've only had us for about a decade. Imagine
Yeah.
20, 30 years down the line, the information
know
and
everything,
the
man.
data that they're going to have, it's like going to be insane. And again, there's no regulation for it. So there's nobody regulating what they're doing with all this information.
Yeah, that's part of that's just I
Yeah.
don't know, it's just crazy. And
Yeah.
like how all the large companies are collecting like everyone's data,
Yeah.
and there's no
Well, I mean, we live in this era now where it's like you used to mine for gold because gold was a resource, but now it's like you mine for information, and the top
Super
resource and the top resource now is actually attention. It's getting eyes to be glued to the screen.
Oh,
So
yeah.
basically, the more eyes you get glued to a screen, the more revenue you'll generate in time.
So tell your friends about the Greasy Conversation podcast. help vote with your eyes and give
Yeah.
us a couple more eyes.
Yeah, because I mean, you gotta think about it too. Like YouTube changed it from just stream count to a minute count. So it's like
watch time.
Exactly, it's watch time now. And why would they switch it to watch time? Because the viewer count doesn't count as much as the attention does.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you watch a video for an hour, to them that's more valuable for you being on that platform for an hour than to watch 20 videos for 3 minutes.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just aside real quick. So Ange Kerfoot tossed in that our money laundering Jordan Belfort producer guy looks laundery looking, which is very true. And she also mentioned that your haircut's looking flossy.
Oh,
For a
thanks.
second, we're gonna announce, but that's actually
He did look kind of money laundry.
yeah. He's got that.
You know, everyone's
laundry
got like that look. They just got like
He the producer of the movie.
yeah, about the dude who did like a
Jesus.
huge Ponzi scheme, like one of the largest Ponzi schemes outside of
Jesus.
Bernie Madoff, I think.
I got to get your opinion on something real quick before we move on to this next topic. I want you to see this video and tell me if you think it's staged. Did you see this going around about this dude in Turkey that supposedly saw a kid on a balcony on a second floor and caught the kid? But look, the camera's moving around a bunch, so it's not a security camera. I just realized it can't be. Someone, and look at this angle so high above, someone's holding a camera above their head or on a ladder in order to get only a tiny bit of the space above him off frame. So there's no proof that no one's got any proof that this kid actually fell from a second floor. Besides, see, this is post footage later. See how it's all crisp of the news agency showing the second floor balcony? I guarantee this mom dropped the kid from the first floor balcony. And the kid was just, look at how little frame we have from this angle above this guy's head. This kid only fell like a few feet. If the kid was dangled just out of frame.
Let me see. Run it one more time.
So, see how we can look at the top of everyone's head? And the camera's wiggling around. So whoever's holding this camera,
the only thing I'm going to say
is
I'm not actually looking at the capture. It's the bag that falls on the ground. Roll it back one more time, because the speed of the bag looks like it was a little bit higher than the first level. If you look at the bag hit the ground. Play it back,
or whatever that
piece
thing
is right there.
Yeah.
Look at it, the impact of that. Yeah, see, that speed looked a little bit higher than the first floor. That's all I'm going to say. Look, see, if that was the first floor, that bag wouldn't have done that.
So the kid moved pretty fast.
Yeah.
But it's suspicious.
Because the bag, like literally, whatever bag, I don't know why he has a bag.
Why is he centered in the frame? What is this person doing standing on a ladder, aiming it down at your friends in the street that aren't even doing anything?
Yeah.
That's my number one, BS detection on these staged rescues is why was there a camera framed? He's perfectly in the shot. There's a perfect amount of space in here so the kid doesn't have to fall as far. And you get that by getting this top-down angle. And who's filming this up on a ladder, up on another balcony or something, aiming down? This doesn't look balcony height, though, either. It looks like they're standing on, a pot or one of these things on the side of the road, or a dumpster. It's just such a suspicious angle. Why would you just be filming this random dude? He's not even, looking
Play
up.
one more time. I'm just,
and look how chill he is about it. He's just He looks a little concerned. Hands up. Hands are up in advance so the kid can know to be ready. Why'd the kid fall feet first, too?
Yeah.
Why would a kid be crawling on a balcony and
You're
not
right.
fall
The only
feet
thing,
first?
too,
and
is
then look
that
how chill this kid is, too.
they never show the angle up either. You're right.
Yeah, that's what makes it look
And where was there a bag?
like a setup.
My question is the bag.
I think it might have been a hat, too, that the kid was wearing. But this kid is so docile. That kid probably had her dad throw her up and catch her all the time.
Yeah.
That's the perfect calm kid that you'd talk into that.
Yeah. My question is, what was going on? It doesn't seem like there's a fire.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there wasn't a fire that supposedly the kid was playing and this random person saw. And there's these extras over here pretending to ignore the situation. Looks over his friend, walks away like he was having some fake chat. This guy's just chilling, not even hearing anything. Walks that direction. This person's concerned all of a sudden. They're almost like, oh, look, we did it.
Yeah.
This little gathering afterwards, yes.
I have a buddy that analyzes videos all the time, and he debunks all of them. He's able to break down even the program they use.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because he does a lot of video editing.
Does he do UFO videos?
No, he just does he used to be a video editor for UFC, but he's a professional video editor. So anytime he sees those me with audio, he's like, oh, they use this effect, they use this.
Oh, yeah.
So he's able to break them down and debunk them.
Seasoned.
Yeah. But you're right about it not going on the upside of seeing what was going on.
Yeah, what is with that camera angle?
It just literally focused on him, and it wasn't like there was really anything else going on the street.
I thought it was a security camera.
Yeah.
The angle made me think it was a security camera until I watched it again with that thought. I'm like, well, security camera's not going to wiggle
around. And that
like
actually brings us to another point, too. Now we're living in an age of so much fake information.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That it's because even Bob Lazar was saying that on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's like, back in the 80s and the 90s, he's like, you'd be able to kind of stream through. It was still easy to find what was fake and what's real. Now it's so much fake information. It's if it's on the internet, you have no idea.
Did you hear about Adobe releasing a tool to detect if pictures have been photoshopped?
Oh, yeah.
And they'll highlight parts of the photo that it detects to be photoshopped.
Man.
They need
that, man.
It's going to destroy Instagram. It's going to be a new Instagram tool.
Yeah.
Dude.
90% of Instagram models just lost their revenue stream. Because it's going to be 99% Instagram.
Colored blotches all over them showing where they
just the whole thing is going to be photoshopped.
Yeah.
No, it's funny when people catch actual pictures of the people that don't get posted on Instagram, from the same place, but it's not their Instagram photo, and you see them and they're they're 50 pounds heavier.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
That's not the same person.
And that's the era that we're moving into right now, unfortunately. It just seems like it's the age of the fake or
Well, now with the deep fake videos.
Yeah.
That are starting, there's that issue. I guess there was one of Nancy Pelosi that was going around on Facebook. Apparently it was Nancy Pelosi was drunk and they wouldn't take it down like forever. They let it, and they're like, oh.
RJ said the dude looks like he nodded his head before the kid fell. Like he gave a little get ready
Yeah, the
nod.
signal. Yeah.
There's just something, there's some kind of signaling going on.
Yeah.
It looks like.
I mean, at this point in time, man, it's like, and the fact that it's like, it was like a high quality camera.
Yeah.
But you're right. The angle that he caught it on, it's like somebody could have just been on another side and just like tossed right to him.
Yeah, if someone was
Yeah.
holding the camera at like regular level, you would have been able to see the kid fall from further up.
Yeah.
Whereas this looks like they could have dangled the kid a lot closer to him without.
Yeah.
You let it go,
Who knows?
get a couple feet.
Who knows? Just to go viral. That's the thing, man.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I don't think anyone's like followed up on it. I think it was just left sitting there, and
No.
people just like.
And that's the
okay,
issue now.
it's
Like
old
most
news
people
now.
don't have like the attention span now. It's like, all right, cool, that was dope, and then they just keep moving on and scrolling
And
along.
when it's
Yeah.
debunked, the debunking doesn't pop up in your feed
No.
because that's not as big a news.
Exactly.
Well, and like, because it's just like, oh, it's just a guy who caught a baby, and everyone's like, oh, that's great. And then, like, you know,
Yeah. Go watch puppies.
later in the afternoon, it's something, you know, the next viral thing. So
Exactly.
it really, so now there's almost like a mini viral. Like before, it was like anything like that would be viral and that would be huge. And now, even though that was like huge and seen by a lot of people, it's not like a lasting trend or anything like
Yeah.
that. You know, it
Well, that's
didn't
the issue that we're running into now is attention spans are dropping. So it's like nothing's really lasting anymore.
Yeah.
Even as far as like music goes now, it's like I was looking at some of the newer pop records and verses have gone from 16 bars to 8-bar verses and like literally 16-bar hooks. It's insane.
But I have a counter to that I actually like that trend in concept, in that I felt like popular music as I grew up was overcrowded with vocals. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think people tend to latch on to vocals more, and I feel like that was abused.
Yeah.
It didn't really let instrumentation breathe enough.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
now I feel like there's a little bit of a rebirth of the instrumental, instrumentals being more popular for people to put on in the background of things.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
appreciating background music. I feel like there's a whole revival of music for background purposes.
Oh, no,
And
that's
people
actually
starting
true,
to
yeah.
appreciate that. Oh, okay. I think it's a perfect example. It blows my mind that you're working with that dude, because we were like total fans of his a couple years ago from him popping up on the Heady Beats playlist on Spotify.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorites on there. But it was a time, and it continues to this day, where I tend to appreciate music more for accompanying things and hanging out with me. I don't want it
Yeah.
to take my whole attention. And his
yeah.
music, like the attention I give it, it just makes whatever I'm doing have my attention full of it
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
But it also works good when I want to pay attention to it all the
No,
way.
facts.
It just does both things. In that reverence for my attention span, or for what I can consume as far as information, it's like the opposite of the loudness wars.
Yeah.
It's mastered all the way volume wise, but it's not
Abrasive.
it doesn't pull
Yeah.
away all the attention that
Yeah.
I have to spare.
Gotcha.
It hangs out with me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like in general too, like music's not being as hyped or like is dubstep or electro driven anymore. Or it's like more like these, like even hip hop, it's like a lot of reggaeton, kind of like slower, more vibier tracks versus like abrasive in your face music.
Yeah, finally.
So,
Finally,
yeah.
things are coming back to chilling, because I feel like dubstep was the ultimate loudness war thing.
Oh,
Because
man.
when you have a pure frequency, nothing has
that's-
more energy.
that's the
than when
atomic
it's-
bomb of
yeah.
loudness. It's like,
It's just an oscillation of a pure resonance.
yeah.
It's the loudest possible
It's like
thing.
this is going to take up every band on the frequency
Yeah.
spectrum.
Right.
Hit them all acutely.
From the lowest to the highest.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, that's the submarine of knowledge for what the next might be.
So
thing.
this is actually kind of cool. I mean, we've been, well, not we, the royal we, humans, who do this type of thing, have been working on, like, reversing paralysis. And there have been some good headway into that, usually by, like, putting a chip at, like, the base of the skull, you know, and
Oh,
then
shoot.
a receiver on the muscles that operate that part of the body. And then it just sends those impulses instead.
Oh, man. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's like
Because
that's
like
some
that tech,
sci-fi shit.
that tech right there, like what it would lead to be honest, if it can send a signal, a chip can send a signal and control body parts, you could
Yeah.
literally implant that in people forcefully and
Yeah,
then
like, just
literally
take
turn
over.
them into drones. Like they might still have their mind, but they won't control their bodily functions because you could literally hack that. Like if
Yeah.
it's up frequency and it receives a signal and it's sending a transmission, there's a way to hack that frequency spectrum it's on.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then take over that transmission and be like, yep, move, walk here. Like you'd be able to do a lot of control aspects. So it's like the health benefits of it would be great, but I could see it also being used in like anytime there's a new technology, it follows with a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
There
yeah.
has
Like-
to be checks on it. Like
Yeah.
they need to make sure it can't control the face.
Yeah.
So the person can still be like, hey, I'm sorry I'm punching you and aiming this gun at you.
Yeah.
I'm taking over. I'm being hacked.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. It's
Not
like,
in
it's
control
like,
of my body.
yeah, it's super crazy.
There's a
Why is
good
this
like
person robbing a bank while actively screaming?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a good like sci-fi horror movie called Upgrade that has this basically plot where this guy gets like paralyzed, quadriplegic, and eventually this like guy comes to him and is like, I can help you walk again, you know, but you can't tell anyone this is like, and it's this chip, this like smart AI chip
Jesus.
that they like implant in his
So
skull.
basically exactly what I was just
yeah,
talking
like
about
that,
happening
that
in a
horror
movie.
story,
yeah.
but like way worse.
Yeah.
Like it's bad, man, but it's like a great movie.
yeah.
But
Well, there was a saying I had heard. It was like art imitates life. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, if there's a movie that's about it, then it probably exists somewhere.
Well, that's what he was saying about the money laundering Jordan Belfort producer.
Yeah.
It's like that's the theme of this episode
yeah,
for sure.
art imitates life for sure. Yeah, if you look at that one, dude made the movie about it. And he's like, I'm doing the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, it's like literally art just imitates life. You know,
he's
So
like, I
it's
know that dude went to prison, but am I gonna go to prison? Nah.
It's like I will do everything a little bit different than he did. Oh,
Right.
unfortunately, the internet exists. So
Right.
Yeah.
So this paralysis reversal method involves actually rewiring the nerves. They don't go into much detail, but apparently you can do that.
yeah,
And restore movement, limited movement. So it's not like they do this and then someone who had like no use of their arm can like, you know, start playing the harp or something, but they can like they can move their arm enough and like use their hand and like grip, but they don't have really good dexterity with their fingers and any of that.
But
So
that's
that
still-
takes like
yeah.
more precision and
but that's still rudimentary too. It's like the wheel to the airplane. Like eventually, it'll get pretty mastered.
yeah,
Once it
exactly.
goes on
So
along,
yeah, it's always cool
Yeah.
when stuff like that happens. But like what you were talking about, there have been like plenty of experiments where they've like hooked chips up to monkeys' brains, and then there's like a robotic arm
Exactly.
that like feed that will like
Yeah.
bring food to the monkey, so the monkey has to learn to control the arm to bring it a grape,
Yeah.
and like totally trippy shit, man.
It's
Yeah.
insane how much the brain can adapt if you're just like close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Like,
there's
people
that,
can see with their tongue. There's a thing that'll like
Well, I mean, the brain's pretty much a quantum computer if you really think about it, because like again, consciousness is non-local. Like any physicist will tell you that they've searched the entire brain to see if there's something that makes consciousness in there, and it's like looking in your cell phone to see where the voice is at.
yeah.
You know, like you could take the cell phone apart, but you're not going to find where the voice is coming from on the other side.
You find where it comes out, but yeah.
Yeah, but you don't
That's it.
like the source of the voice isn't inside
Yeah.
the phone. So it's like they're saying that, you know, the brain kind of works the same way as that, where it receives the consciousness signal, and then like our bodies are the perpetuator of that. So it's like, if that's the case, then who knows, you know, what limitations the mind could actually have.
There's dark energy and dark matter that's the majority of the mass in the universe, but flowing right through us without interacting with our subatomic particles that we can detect.
Yeah, and
And
it's
we
like
can't even detect it with our own
yeah,
instrumentation.
and the craziest thing about it too is it's like we see, I think it's like 94% of the universe is unknown because of that. And basically, you know, a lot of science is just saying it's because we're on a subsystem. So it's like if you're on a subsystem, you can't know what's on the macro system.
Yeah.
So if we're on a sub level, then there's no way to even interact or know what's going on. It's like an ant being able to interact with our universe.
Yeah, you don't see it with the protons and neutrons, but now that we can bust those up and we see the up and down quarks,
Yeah.
and then there's this whole other set of quarks that go to
Yeah.
this other set of things that are like protons and neutrons that we just don't interact with.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so what's this other?
It's like basically it's on a different radio station. Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
Or it holds up a different part of things that could be holding up these particles in a way that we don't understand just from breaking them apart.
No, exactly. So it's like, yeah, it's a lot of things about that science is like hitting these roadblocks with, because it's like not only is our knowledge limited by what we see, but it's like when you go down to the subatomic level and what we are able to see doesn't make any sense with
Yeah,
what's
right.
in the larger reality. So it's like, you know, you go to the subatomic level, things just blink in and out of existence. Things could be at two places at the same time.
For sure.
You know, like it doesn't follow the laws of time for
Yeah,
one. So
like
it's
the electron probability shells. They're not
Yeah.
just like an orbit. It's this whole shell that can exist in probability-wise. And then the space between the first electron shell and the nucleus is so big that if you could see the nucleus like the size of like a tennis ball. Before you get to the first electron shell, it's like down the block.
Yeah,
There's so much empty
yeah.
space in one atom.
Yeah. So it's definitely like interesting. And another thing too is like, you know, when you start looking into ancient civilizations and then like things that they may have known, it gets real confusing. Like I saw you guys had mentioned there was a drone that discovered an entire civilization in South America under the Amazon recently.
Let's look at that.
Yeah. So they literally found
Guest
like
news call. Well done. The guest usually call one of the newses out. I love it.
But yeah, basically they found like an entire civilization under the forest in the Amazon. And like
Yeah,
and
there's probably like several more.
supposedly
that,
the Amazon is planted by people anciently.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be gnarly.
yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm sure there's like tons of them in there. There's probably like islands that just sank or,
Yeah.
you know.
But the thing is, too, is like the tech they used to build some of these pyramids was very advanced. So it's like the answer that we're given that they just carried rocks and then did it with stones and tools just doesn't add up. Because it's like, all right, if that's the case, then let's try to do it again today. And there's like a tractor trailer tipping over trying to lift some of these stones. So it's like, you know, like Graham Hancock believes that the world was very advanced and then there was a cataclysm that hit about 10,000 years ago that like flooded the earth and basically destroyed most of the ancient civilizations that were advanced, because most civilization exists on coastal cities. So it's like if the world was flooded right now, all we would have is the Midwest. You know what I mean? Like
There's another really good theory. There's another really great theory about what happened to the people of the Amazon, why there could be such a vast civilization in there that's responsible for gathering and planting so much of that vegetation. And before the vegetation took it over, it was just the first experiences with Westerners wiped them out with disease.
Yeah.
And so plants overgrew it, and without drones finding just a piece of it. And like you were saying, Greg, there's probably a bunch more.
Yeah.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, well, I can't remember what the number is, but they know there's like tons of like ruins.
Yeah. Well, that was one
South
thing that
America.
that tripped me out too. And Bob Lazar was talking to Joe Rogan. He had mentioned that like one of the UFOs that they had was like found in an archaeological dig. Like so they were digging at some site and then like apparently like found a UFO at like some ancient site. So it's like, and the guy Bob Lazar was like, people try to knock him, people try to slam him, but it's like, man, for the guy, one, was the first person to even expose that Area 51 existed. Before that, there was no actual knowledge of it. It's like it doesn't exist. Not only did he expose it, he gave the location.
Yeah.
So it's like you know that off top, and then you know as time goes on, like Element 115, he explains how they worked, how there was 10 different ones, how it's compartmentalized. So it's like, you know, with that, if you have a system that's in place like that, everybody's like, well, the government can't keep secrets. The thing is, if it's privatized, like he was saying, and companies, it's like
maybe companies can keep secrets a little better.
So because they're
That's a good point.
subcontracted, it isn't a government thing. So the president actually couldn't have access to it because, you know, a restaurant could refuse the right to serve a president if they wanted to.
Oh, for sure.
Because that's just the way, you know,
we
it works.
technically don't know the formula for Coke or the 11 herbs and spices in Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Exactly.
Those were able to be kept a secret.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that's heavy, though. Because I've always been saying that the government sucks at keeping secrets, but corporations seem pretty okay with it.
Corporations don't have a problem.
Speaking of corporations, the Los Alamos Labs that currently denies Bob Lazar worked there has already been discredited by that statement alone because there's tons of evidence he worked there. There's photos of him with coworkers.
Exactly.
He's got an award from them.
Yeah. His pictures of him like 16 years old, like with a jet on the back of his car. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like the whole debunking aspect. And it's like he got to the point where he went so public. It's like if they killed him, then it's absolutely true. So it's like one of those things. Well, if he's still alive, it might not be, just to give that little bit of shadow of a doubt.
That's what's keeping him alive.
Yeah, because it's like if they killed it, it's like, oh, everything he said is true now. You know what I mean? Then he becomes a martyr, which is exactly what they don't want. They don't want you to become a martyr. They want to shut you up before you get too big. But he kind of came out the gate and was like, you know,
telling everyone.
Yeah, he's like, yo, it's here. This is the test site. Yo, this is that. So there's some people that try to like bash him or whatever. But for what I've seen, like he doesn't even collect money from any of the stuff. Like.
No, if there's something that he's saying that's not true, it's just because he got something wrong in all of these details. There's a lot of data that he has over a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I can understand him confusing something if he's the only person that knows it publicly.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think he's telling the truth as far as he knows
well, me and my girl actually had a funny theory was that like he's the guy who actually runs it. So the person that disclosed the information would be the guy who's actually running it, because he would know how to disclose the information. He would know
for
what
sure.
he could and couldn't say.
Oh, man.
Because instead of trusting somebody to do it, he would do it. He would give the exact information that he would want to give, and then not give the information he wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I have two things I want to add to that. One is, did you hear about the Russian, it was just like a Russian journalist, right? That just mysteriously died?
No, it was the poker player.
The poker player. Okay, so there's this, we've been following when Russian government will like assassinate people,
Yeah.
but make it look like, oh, they committed suicide, but why is there like
Yeah.
claw marks on the windowsill?
Yeah.
Well, recently a Russian poker player, what was the deal with that?
She was like a pretty high profile like poker player, on like a lot of the big poker shows and stuff, and did like the World Poker Series, all that. I can't remember what the reason was, but anyway, she was like found in her hotel room.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember the details of it. So
Yeah.
she supposedly perished because she was electrocuted by her hairdryer. But first of all, AC doesn't lock your muscles. So when you're shocked by something with household current, even at double the voltage over there, which is what they have, your muscles are able to let go. A hairdryer doesn't lock your hands in there. She apparently didn't drop it in the tub or anything either. She was apparently electrocuted by it outside the tub. They usually also have ground fault interrupters on the plug, which would make it trip when someone's drawing the current that it would take to kill a person.
Well,
and so
yeah.
she'd have to be in the crappiest Russian apartment to not have a ground fault interrupter, which, okay, I guess I can believe in Russia. And I did find hairdryers without ground fault interrupters, but the coils inside a hairdryer are resistors.
Yeah.
So anywhere you can burn yourself, but it's hard to complete a circuit in a hairdryer.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Russian government's not known to be truthful or honest, from what I mean.
No.
It's
Yeah.
pretty much like run by, you know.
They are
I think
way worse than us
I
at
think Putin
assassinating.
was like the head of the KGB, which
Yep,
is like
for sure.
the CIA there, which is funny because Bush was one of the heads of the CIA here. George Bush Sr.
Yeah,
was one of the
that's right.
CIA guys, and then Putin's the KGB guy. So it's like, you know, these guys come up into power, then some weird corrupt shit happens. It's not a coincidence. That's the funny thing too. Like people say, "Oh, conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory." The word conspiracy, I think, was actually invented by Stalin,
What?
and he invented it because he said that there was a conspiracy against him. So he falsely like prosecuted and executed people that were
Oh,
supposedly
yeah.
a part of this conspiracy to stop him. But there was no conspiracy. The conspiracy was actually him creating it. So it's
Damn.
like, you know, and that's actually where the word actually began. Like he actually coined the word.
And now there's also the terms kind of got conflated and confused and like
Exactly.
interchanged now, because you don't hear the word conspiracy by itself. It's always conspiracy theory.
Exactly.
And conspiracy theory is usually like attributed to, you know, people who are a little out there sometimes.
No, exactly.
And like some stuff is like out there and hard to believe, no doubt.
No,
There's a lot of
absolutely.
crazy conspiracy theories, but there are actual conspiracies that have happened and have been proven.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, there's been
Yeah,
tons
more
of
often,
legit
more often
conspiracies.
than not, too. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, you know, some of them you're just like, there's no way that went down like that, and then you're like, oh shit, actually it did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it's like, because the thing is too, you got to think about like, I'll bring it up now. There was watching this one talk where the guy was talking about 9/11. He's like, you have these one people that call it conspiracy theories, and then there's another one. But he's like, at the end of the day, it was a conspiracy because people were working together to conspire on any side of the equation, whether it was an inside job or
Yeah,
an outside
totally.
job.
For sure.
It was a conspiracy nonetheless, like on both sides of the equation.
Yeah.
So it's like one just got accepted, you know,
Yeah.
which, you know, fit the status quo. But
Well, so I love what you said about Bob Lazar. How what if he's just a mouthpiece?
Yeah.
And it's actually controlled what information he's leaking. I had the same idea about the Storm Area 51 event. Did you hear about this?
I did not.
I said it. I'm mumbling it. Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us.
Oh my
Is a
God.
Facebook event, and it's clearly a joke when you read the description, which says, "We will all meet up at the Area 51 Alien Center tourist attraction and coordinate our entry. If we Naruto run, we can move faster than their bullets." Let's see them aliens.
Oh my god!
This was an Ange Kerfoot scoop. She's our main reporter for a lot of these.
if we Naruto run.
Right?
Yeah.
At first, I was like, "That's awful. People are gonna get shot. That's messed up." And then I read that, and I thought that was so funny that I figured.
I'm actually looking at the number of people going though. 73,000, 94,000 interested.
Well,
Oh man, well their social media reach is definitely pretty good right now.
If they get shot after reading that description, it's people that we need to have shot anyway.
I don't. But if
Yeah.
if 73,000 people actually show up,
Right?
then there's going to be a little bit of a problem.
Well,
Yeah.
not there won't be a problem if the government is actually behind this and it's just an army recruiting ploy. So they all get there. There's bottles of water with the army logo on them,
Oh my
tents set
God.
up, and people like sign here on this. We'll get you your physical. We'll sign you up.
Oh my God.
I'll fast track you right into this working at this base here. I'll get you in there.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Just recruit you.
Jesus.
you got to take it down from the inside.
Or
That's what I've been trying to do for 20 years.
or they've actually moved it, so like when they get there, it's going to be an empty field. They're like, yeah, I
Yeah.
sent everybody over here, and it's just a
Right.
dirt lot.
Because just from going there, it doesn't mean that anyone's going to be able to get through any doors. So they're just like, okay, make sure the fence is locked and buy lots of bottled water.
Yep.
Get your army stickers.
I
We'll
can't
have
believe
hoodies
this.
for sale.
I'm actually shocked that it said 73,000 people going and 94,000 interested.
I clicked going.
Right.
As soon as I saw that
who
Naruto run,
Who hosted it? That's actually what I want to know.
Hosted
That's-
by Ship Posting because I'm in shambles.
Oh my god,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to know.
That's so great, man. I love stuff like that. Like there was another good one that it was like a Jesus Take the Wheel event where like on one day all the like Christians were when they were driving were supposed to just take their hands off the wheel and close their eyes and let Jesus take the wheel like all at the same time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
just like shit like that is hilarious and cracks
Like-
me up.
Thankfully, Manson didn't have the internet. Right. Seriously. Yeah. Because, yeah, I've seen some dumb challenges right now, like to burn your face on fire and, like, touch the stove. Or it's just, like,
Touch
all
the
these
stove
things.
challenge.
Yeah, it's like, it just shows, like, are we really evolving?
Yeah,
Greg wants to start hashtag moon is flat.
Oh, my God.
yeah.
The
Flat moon.
Flat moon.
theory.
Hashtag flat moon.
We never
Oh
see
my
the other side
gosh.
of it.
Yeah.
We never see the other side of it.
Tidal lock.
So
Yeah.
it could just be a pizza.
If gravity
Yeah.
is fake, then tidal lock is fake and space is fake.
Yeah.
I saw the string that's holding it up there.
Who knows?
Trust me.
Or we're just all in an alien video game and it's all a hologram.
Oh man.
Right. I've been getting my girlfriend on that. The universe is a simulation.
Yeah.
Like more and more, I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. It's all simulation. Doesn't really matter.
Well, when literally everything that we interact with is either electromagnetic energy or something with protons, neutrons, and electrons, just a whole periodic table, it's protons, neutrons, and electrons. Just those three things. And now we're busting them open and being able to discover neutrinos traveling through the Earth, discovering all these subatomic particles.
And I had a theory about
They're
this
just like,
too.
don't play with us.
It's like you look at the lifespan of a human compared to an ant. You know, like an ant might live for like 2 or 3 months, but to that ant, it might seem like 80 years because time is relative. So our lifetimes are like anywhere from 0, let's say 100. It's usually like 70, 80. For the most part. So it's like imagine if you were a species that lived for 10, 20,000 years, even 100,000 years, and there's games where you go spend 60, 80 years would just be like 80 minutes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
You'd see stars live and
Yeah.
die. You'd see galaxies collide within
Yeah.
a week.
yeah. So
your
it's
perception.
so it's like it's real tricky when you start trying to think of higher realms in the human aspect of our lifespans, because if things have lifespans that are way longer than that, then that changes the game and even how the dynamics of the way that thought would be.
And to even visit something at the speed of light, if we're restricted by the speed of light, the next galaxy is not just like thousands or tens of thousands or even millions
Exactly.
of light years away. So we can get to another star in maybe like a couple dozen light years, maybe like 60 or so years, I think,
Yeah.
is Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
but the next galaxy, even we can see this whole other galaxy over there,
our neighbor.
a million times that. What the heck?
Yeah.
Just to get to our next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Takes that 60 light, you know what I mean?
Or to get to
60
the
light years.
next neighboring city, so to speak.
Exactly. So it's like
The scale is just ridiculous. It's hard to wrap your head around
really
differences and of that. Like,
Well, and
scale.
we already like make games that are just like simulations of our existence.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
in like The Sims, Sim City, all that stuff. There was even one about like evolution called Spore.
Yeah.
Where you start as like a little single celled organism and then
exactly.
you evolve and you know.
Exactly. So it's like, and we're already developing those things now, and the virtual reality is just getting more legs every single day. So it's
Yeah.
like, eventually we'd be able to make an immersive reality. So it's like, who's to say we're not in one now? That's one of the trickiest and probably philosophical questions, just because like, if you're like, well, then who's the creators and all those things? So it's like, it comes into those aspects, and that's why science stays away from it, because it's scared to go to that lane. But you look at the Big Bang Theory, it's like, oh, it just happened.
Yeah.
So it's like, that doesn't make sense either.
Well, even scientists have been forced to reconcile with the math that statistically it's more likely that of all of the layers of simulation, we wouldn't be the first one. It's less likely. It's
Very
still
less
possible.
likely.
We might be pioneering everything. We might be the smartest thing in the universe right now.
Yeah,
That's
but-
also a possibility. It's just way less likely.
I think our universe is Our universe is, what did they say? It's like 4.6 billion
Yeah.
or something.
No, it's like
that.
14.
14.
The Earth is like 4.5 billion.
Yeah, the
years
Earth is
old.
4.5 billion, but the universe itself is like 14.
Yeah,
something
it's like
billion.
14 something. Yeah.
So that's 10 billion year difference between start to where we are now. So to try to say we're the pioneers,
It's not likely.
not likely.
It's not
at
even
all.
likely that we're the most intelligent thing in our galaxy,
Yeah.
considering how
Yeah.
long it would take for even our I Love Lucy episodes to get across the galaxy.
Not only that, look where we are located in our own solar system.
Yeah, we're up all that. Yeah.
Like, and I mean, in our galaxy, the spiral galaxy,
We're
like
not near
on
the center of
We're
it.
not near the center.
No.
Yeah, we're
not
just
even
like
a
on the
little
very
bit.
edge.
We're like,
just-
exactly. We're
we're in
like
the
on the
boondocks.
outside.
We're in the
boondocks.
burbs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're deep in the burbs. So
we're
like,
like the Florida
yeah.
of the Milky Way.
yeah. Like we have like cows, cows and goats, in the
Right.
farm type deal, as far as like being closer to the center goes. And I think it'd be like 2-3 billion year difference if you start going towards the center. So let's just give a civilization 100,000 years
Yeah.
of being ahead of us. Think about that, just that small amount of time.
And that time's there.
Yeah,
And not only
yeah.
that, but they're way closer to each other over there, closer to the bar in the middle. You have so many stars more near each other. And then you also have what Kepler's discovering is a high probability of Earth-like planets.
Yeah.
Out of like 11 stars they looked at, that they discovered planets in front of just this year.
Yeah,
Going through the
exactly.
data, they found 2 that are in the right spot to be in an earthy situation.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And that's the thing too. We always like look at life based on how we see it here, but there could be different chemical reactions and
Yeah.
different things that species survive off of. Like I think there was like some cave that they found that didn't get sunlight for like millions of years, and there was an entire ecosystem of like animals down there that didn't need light.
there's
That-
bacteria
Yeah.
that can use
Yeah.
methane in place
Yeah.
of oxygen.
Yeah, so like they found life in areas where there technically shouldn't have been any, but there's a whole ecosystem down there where it's technically like an alien world on our own.
Yeah, there's
So-
like eyeless salamanders that
Yeah.
like just super white, like almost translucent.
yeah.
No, not even like eyes.
Yeah.
Just like don't have any.
You guys.
Yeah, and
Wait, sorry, finish your point.
nope, I was just gonna say like, and the thing is too, like the speech from Ronald Reagan. I can only imagine how our world would come together if we were faced with a threat from outside of our own world.
Yeah.
Like
And put a
when
hustle on it a little
yeah,
bit.
like when a president actually says that speech, it's like, oh, he was just doing that for propaganda. It's like, I don't know.
He
You
might
know
have
what I
been
mean?
spooked by a
Like he's
little
on
thought.
something.
He might have saw some shit. You know what I mean? Like he might have been like, I want to see it. I want to see it. Oh shit, this is what's going down. All right, I'm gonna let he's like, I gotta let the world know a little something. He's like, I'm not gonna give him all the information because I don't want to get assassinated, but I'm gonna tell him a little something because Reagan was shot in the shoulder.
Yeah,
That did
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
So
There
it's
was an
like,
assassination attempt.
and I wonder if that was before or after he mentioned the alien threat. So
For
it's
reals.
like that's another big question. It was like, hey, buddy, don't say anything else. Better keep quiet.
Yeah,
Right.
So
for reals. So I wanted to declare advertising break moment, but first I wanted to holla at Kicker for this headphone situation because I would have non-Kicker inferior headphones were not they to have hooked us up with Kicker Tabor headphones. They've got a good isolation situation. I've been killing these in my backpack, and it's been a good time. So
I got a couple pair of these.
yeah, Kicker headphones time. Well, you actually have the old Sennheisers on. You have left over, which I love too. I'm gonna lie and say I don't love my Sennheisers. I check and mix in those too. But the fact that I'm enjoying Kicker headphones, like even that they're even in the same sentence, is a testament to them. And these fellows have Bluetooth action going on in them too.
Oh shoot!
So they were killing it on the airplane for me. So that's a sponsor time. We got a couple more. We just let our sponsors know that RadioVegas.rocks sent you, and it'll help us pay that internet bill.
Yep.
Boom.
Another night of drinking.
Yeah. Dude, it's
Yeah.
so good to see you. man.
Likewise, man. Definitely.
Whoa.
Another night of drinking. I got no get up
Sorry,
and
2.5
go.
hour breaks. Oh,
Maybe I drank too much whiskey, beer, and such. Need a little shot of Hangover Joe's. Now you see me moving and my feet ain't dragging the floor. Feeling pretty good and my head ain't pounding no more. Happens all the time, and the only thing saving my life is a little red and yellow shot called Hangover Joe's. Hey folks, this is Ken from the Altogether's. We tend to drink a lot at our shows. Actually, we drink a lot everywhere. Hell, I'm drunk right now. Sometimes I get tanked just so I can drink Hangover Joe's. Now, while you should drink responsibly, things do tend to get out of hand from time to time, and that's why you should get Hangover Joe's right now while you're sober. Now, if you excuse me, I got a song to finish, so I can go get drunk. Happens all the time, and the only thing saving my life is a little red and yellow shot called Hangover Joe's. A little red and yellow shot called Hangover Joe's.
Cold Cock American Herbal Whiskey. Enjoy responsibly.
All right, Dicks. I told you to register for the free Aerosmith tickets by clicking on the link for the Radio Vegas Rocks app and then simply register your name and phone number under the VIP tab. To punish you, Dicks, I'm going to play Janie's Got a Gun on my hand flute while I explain again how great this contest through Radio Vegas Rocks truly is. This is free airfare, free hotel accommodations, and 2 VIP tickets on the actual stage. You're on the stage watching Aerosmith play. If one of you dicks win these tickets and you have no one to go with, I'll go with you. I would love to see fucking Aerosmith on stage, Turtle, even if you win. As long as you promise you don't roofie my drink, you don't have sex with my dead corpse. Hopefully he doesn't make my skin into some sort of apparatus he wears around his face. I'll even stay with you. All you have to do is download the Radio Vegas Rocks app and register under the VIP tab of the app to win.
Download the Radio Vegas Rocks app right now.
Hello, everybody. This is DJ Fade from Faded and Elevated, and I am so excited to talk to you guys about Deluxe Cleaning Service. Yeah, that's right. Miss Blanca Lopez, she is the cat's meow, y'all. She comes to your house. She comes to your office. She comes wherever you need her to go, and she cleans that sucker up like it's never been cleaned before. Yeah, that's right. She will come absolutely anywhere. Wherever you need her, she's there to keep you clean in the deluxe way.
And we are back. It's the Greasy Conversation Talk Show. That one ends weirdly,
Yeah,
abruptly. It's like
I guess-
suspense, and this one's better though. Yeah. All right. It's Greasy Conversation, which you can Google successfully because we spelled it correctly, and we're on RadioVegas.rocks.
Boom.
And yeah, it's occurring.
Boom.
So this would be a good time to dive into what you came with, because I know you were excited about talking about some time travel Trump Maybe some more QAnon stuff.
Well, I will mention this right now, which is very astonishing, is that Trump is actually the first sitting president to step foot in North Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Spontaneously, too.
From a tweet. So, like, you know, it's just, you know, wearing a Tesla shirt now. The fact that his uncle was the person who, like, got all the papers from Tesla. And then, like, Trump almost seemed to come from nowhere with how, like, you know, he ran the presidency. And it's like the news, my issue with this is the news, I feel like, attacks him so heavily to where, you know, I've never talked to him in person. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't make a judgment based on that. But I will say that it's just very odd how there's a lot of bad shit that goes on that the news doesn't talk about. You know, Weinstein with all those girls or whatever. It was a big issue.
That was buried
who, like,
for a
started
while.
the Me Too movement. It's still buried. He already made a settlement, and it's, like, already over. So, like, there's no news on that. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's actually, like, a proven thing that he was, like, doing some dumb shit. So it's like, and almost nobody cared. It's like it started this whole movement, but once the movement stopped, it's like nobody's even talking about it anymore. So it's like, I'm just curious on why there's aspects to attack so much. And then it's like, you know, if the news is run by the old world conglomerate, then they probably they understand social media, but they probably don't really get it to, like, the new world that we're entering. And it's like this paradigm is starting to switch because it can go one of two ways as see us going in the future. We're either going to become more collective and inclusive. So it's like maybe he played the role of a bad guy to point things out. Because I had because my girlfriend, like, how they're doing the walls right now and how they just had, like, a health, like, they're allowing doctors to go inspect those facilities now. My whole question was, have those facilities always been that way? You know what I mean? Like, is it new, or have they been that way, but now there's just attention on them?
Yikes.
You know, like how they're holding, because nobody actually paid attention before. Nobody knew about these facilities. The facilities have been there, you know what I mean? But nobody actually even had an idea.
Was how do we interact with people really in the process? We only know what we know. Maybe meeting one friend that went through it. And so it's different, like, for different people going through.
So it's like, you know, it's always two sides of a coin. So it's like, if they were always like that, but now they're getting attention down there, then, you know, that's my only, you know, juxtaposition on it, is that there's not two sides to this story. There's only one. And that's the one that the news and the mass media decides to give you.
When you have people saying that, like, I don't have a problem with people immigrating, this country is built on immigrants, and they agree with me on that point, and they say, I just want people to get in line and do it the way they're supposed to and not cut in line and go through the proper channels. Meanwhile, they close down ports of entry while people are planning their whole lives to head to them. Like, if I plan to move to another state and I've got all my stuff packed and I get to that state and they're like, oh, we closed this port of entry to this state. What am I supposed to do?
So it's like...
And how am I different than someone immigrating from another nation? Except that I had to put less effort. And someone that puts more effort, I think, is more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing, too, is, like, now that we're entering the future, it always gets darkest before dawn. So it's like, we're seeing, I feel like, the worst symptoms of it now, because, like, eventually we're becoming a global society, period. That's we already are there. Like, anybody who wants to pretend like, no, we're this way, we're gonna put walls up here, no, it's over with. Like, Apple's in Asia, you know what I mean? Like, tech companies are already running the world. Facebook's global.
And they're like everywhere. They're like in multiple countries.
Like, you can try to put up all these physical barriers, but the kids that are growing up now, there's no, like, they're not gonna understand barriers because they're growing up on the internet.
For sure.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it's just the last, you know, of the dying breed of these people holding on.
That's a point I've been making with how we're discovering new gross things and new atrocities, and people are like, oh, the world's getting worse and worse. Like, no, you're discovering the dirt in the corners. We're cleaning house so much, we're finding where the real stains are.
No, absolutely. Like, you know, I don't want to be that dude, but, like, you know, black people getting shot by police officers, nothing new. That's, like, been going down forever.
It's just
it's
like,
the awareness of it.
It's just that now motherfuckers is documenting it and getting the shit on camera. So because of cell phones, some motherfuckers is actually seeing it happen. You know, like, oh, he just said this went down or this went down. And then you actually see on a goddamn camera that it went down that way. So now it's like the awareness is there. That's what I was saying about the borders, too. I'm like, now that there's awareness there, has it always been that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one of my questions.
That's my
too,
question.
For
Is
sure.
like we're just able to document it now, but if it's
Yeah.
always been that way, then that's some pretty fucked up shit that's been going down for a long time now.
Seriously.
You know what I mean? Because there's like a article I saw where there was a lawyer who was like arguing with these judges. They were like, "So what is your definition of safe and sanitary?" And then she was like, "They were like, sleep's not necessary for safe and sanitary." And
Oh,
then
that's
all of the
dark.
judges literally looked at her and was like, "You're really not sitting here trying to argue with me that sleep is not a part of the definition of safe and sanitary conditions. So no
Yeah.
sleep, a toothbrush, a bed and a blanket, those 3 things aren't considered safe and sanitary." She's like, "Yeah, safe and sanitary is an open thing, and sleep is like, one of those vague. Sleep
Oh,
is a
man.
vague requirement
That's so
for
dark.
safe and
When
sanitary."
you can literally die without sleep. People don't just go crazy.
Yeah.
They will die if you're
And
kept awake for too
she
long.
legitimately was like trying to argue, but this is what caused the judges to be like, "We're sending doctors in there to inspect."
Wow.
After what she was saying, they were like, it was all 3 of them too. It was like a panel of 3 judges who
That's
were like,
gnarly.
"You're literally not trying to argue with us and trying to say that sleep
like,
is safe and sanitary."
Like,
Yeah.
we don't know like why we need sleep other than to
Yeah.
like recharge.
Yeah,
But
because she's like,
we
"Yeah,
know we need it.
We
she's like,
definitely know
we
we
don't.
need it.
We
Yeah.
didn't plan on holding people longer than 12 hours, but when we do, we do." And they're like, "Well, these are things that need to be required." Because before there were no doctors or actual inspectors.
man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now there's doctors and inspectors. Like after that, I couldn't believe it. I was like, even if you were getting paid as retarded, I just soul wise, like, could you legitimately sit there and like try to argue that sleep is not necessary?
Yeah,
for
with a
human
straight
being?
face, man.
Super
Yeah,
gross.
yeah. So it's like, and all the like, even the judges were perplexed. He was literally like, "Are you seriously trying to argue and say sleep's not safe and sanitary?" He's like, toothbrush. Then they were just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. So now they're sending inspectors in to go to all these places.
Thank goodness, man.
Yeah,
The
Well,
ones
like-
they haven't shut down.
yeah,
And a point you were making about like the news and how it's really negative.
Yeah.
It has been for a long time, and like part of that is because like headlines sell. But I think like with social media, the news isn't able to like keep up with like that culture, and so now so many, it's just like clickbait titles, and the
Yeah.
title could be like totally exaggerated or not even related to the article,
Yeah.
because they know like the majority of people are just going to read the headline anyway and not read it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so they want someone to just click on it, get a few eyeballs on some ads, and like that's the new model. It's not actually about like having the best, most accurate information.
Yeah,
It's just about getting clicks.
And that's the thing too, is like now that we're entering this era where it's just about clicks and getting attention, it's like quality and truth is almost thrown out the window now.
Yeah.
So it's like even the video we just saw with the guy catching the baby from
For
the second
sure.
story window. It's like that was on the news. We don't even know if it's true. Like that's what's insane
right.
now.
Yeah,
Like we're
yeah.
literally sitting here debating like, yo, is that a camera trick? Because
Yeah.
it's literally almost like so much information is coming at us at one time.
There could
And
be
that's-
10 articles debunking it that
and that's the
haven't
thing
even
too.
found.
Like
Yeah.
human beings, I feel like right now, like we've literally gone through an entire existence of not having this amount of information that attacks us on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like we literally release, I think, the entire documents of the world's knowledge until the year 2000. And after the year 2000, we released that much information like a day. So it's
Yeah,
like
it's insane.
It's literally impossible to keep up. And if the mind is kind of like a quantum computer, it doesn't matter how powerful it is, you can overload it with information. And I feel like that's what's going on right now, where it's just like click this, add here, add here, add here, add here. Like every time we look at our devices, and our devices have become part of our lives now, where it's like an extension. Like we've evolved into the point where our technology is literally with us all times. Like sometimes when people lose their phone, it almost feels like they're missing a body part now.
Well, it's not like you can use a payphone.
No, exactly.
gone.
But no, it's like so connected now. It's like
Yeah.
if you leave your phone somewhere, you lose your phone.
It's
You
actually
Yeah,
dangerous.
you
Yeah.
feel like you've lost something. Like you've
And there's
lost a
like,
hand.
there's so much like information you
Yeah.
have in your phone now.
Exactly. So it's like when
yeah.
you lose that, you're like, oh my god. It's like it's like
you
this
don't,
ghost
you don't know
thing.
how to call anybody.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
know any
So
numbers.
it's like that's only going to increase.
Yeah.
So, and my question is like with the implants and things like that, eventually they'll be like, oh, I never want to lose my information, so just put the chip in my arm. So it's like I'm real curious to see the direction that the world goes in the next 20 to 30 years.
I can't wait
Yeah.
till we just get
This-
chips and
this-
our
this-
brains connect to the internet.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
I'm
Who
going to
knows?
put that off.
Yeah.
I hate putting.
Yeah.
I don't even want tattoos, let alone a chip in my body.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna
and
get
then,
chipped out.
Yeah, and the thing is, like once the singularity hits, that's a whole nother ballgame, because a big issue with that is what philosophers are saying is that, like, example, look at the Kardashians. They literally use plastic surgery to enhance their body, like to be the perfect woman, so to speak. So that's just the wheel to the airplane. Now what happens if you can do that to increase intelligence? So now the people with money can literally be smarter than those that don't have it. Not just now, like the equal rise from the bottom come to the top. Now people are literally going to be implanted with memory abilities, learning abilities. They can just download an app to learn how to fly a plane. You know, so if it gets to, when it gets to that point, then you're going to have like a species separation. And then, you know, what they always say is the weaker species will get eliminated by the higher species. So it's like when that if that goes in that direction, then that brings a whole other, you know, can of worms with it, because then you'll literally start having not just, you know, a monetary gap. It'll literally be like physically, because they're enhanced like cyborgs. So it's like, how do you, you know, compete against that? And these will be the people that are running the world.
And if that happens before we even take care of people on an even basis, it's going to be extra sad, because there's not an overpopulation issue as far as as much as a distribution of resources issue.
Distribution of resources is
the
absolutely
people are stacked
an issue.
on top of each other in certain areas where there's resources. If the resources were spread around, there's plenty of empty space.
Have you guys driven through the Midwest, or like even driven from here, from Las Vegas to California? There's a lot of goddamn land there. You know what I mean? Like,
it's better weather than we're living in Vegas too.
So
people argue there's too many people, but they realize the resources are there. We don't even have to make the rich people significantly less rich to just spread out even a fraction of what the middle class or even the lowest of the middle class has to the bottom. And it's like less than $1 a day just to get everyone
when you have a statistic
water.
of there's more empty homes than homeless people in a country, that's not an overpopulation issue.
No.
Period. When there's more empty homes than homeless people, then you already know that there's a distribution issue with resources. You know, and that's a fact. You guys could look that one up if you want to fact check me. But
no, it's true.
When I found that one out, I was like, it's the most preposterous thing to think about. But then that comes to like, you know, the greater question of global consciousness level too. We're still in this whole I gotta take type deal, where if we like move more of a collective, we can make so much more advances. But it's still like this whole competitive, like me versus you. But it's like in the end of the day, that just doesn't work.
No,
like, it never has.
You have people with dirty water still in 2019. There's people
Flint,
that
you know. And here's what really tripped me out. I was actually just in Michigan for Electric Forest, and then I was like, there's so many bodies of water in Michigan. Like, literally. There's literally bodies of water everywhere. Like, I knew about the Great Lakes, but I didn't know how many lakes there really are.
No infrastructure to get it to people.
I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, how are they drinking contaminated water and it's like 10 miles up the road, there's a freaking clean lake?
There was bottled water at Walmart with lead found in it. What? Last week, I think we talked about it. I thought.
No, maybe we put it on the list.
Maybe it didn't make it into the show, but yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Another aspect of like distribution of resources just being like on this lopsided faction, but you know
that what you were saying about thinking outside of the individual and people just appreciating humanity as a hive entity. I would love that to replace religion, because that's where religion shines, is when people come together as a community and look out for one another.
Exactly.
We can do that secularly. We can appreciate what a deity that forms when teamwork happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it's like, it's just weird, but it's almost like the system that's in play is so against that, though. Like the system that's in play. The system that's
based on competition.
It's based on competition. But
that works so far, but that's not an absolute or the thing solution.
Is, it works for those in control because it's divide and conquer. You keep everybody fighting amongst themselves, while you know the small group that runs the show is able to run the show, because you have all these divisions that are created on the sub level, where you're on the macro level, you're able to dictate a lot more control.
Yeah, you get your tribe and your nation strong, but it's at the downfall of your species.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I feel like there definitely is some type of system that's in play that people do control. Not necessarily like an Illuminati thing, but at the end of the day, just look at a simple equation. Real power isn't transient. So any elected official or anything in government, any position that's transient, isn't a real position. It's a temporary position, temporary job, temporary employee for the bigger regime. So it isn't like that's what the foundation is. it's more like this is what you get, so to speak. But the real powers that be aren't elected officials. They don't have to answer to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, man, when Kennedy said it, there's secret organizations that work from the shadows that aren't, when he made that speech. And then he was assassinated. So if there was any questions that you had, a president of the United States said there's some secret shadow governments going on and then gets assassinated.
It's suspicious.
I'm going to say you could call me a conspiracy theorist on that one, but that looks mighty suspicious to me. He's like, yo, there's some secret shit going down, and we got to get rid of this shit, and then he gets shot. So, like, I don't know, man.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? Not a good look at all. So it's like you can question, like, oh, it was just one guy by himself. He was just a rogue element. Like, I don't know, man. There's been marksmen who still have not been able to replicate that. You know what I mean? Nobody's been able to replicate that shot. They've had like the greatest marksman in the world, and everybody's been trying to replicate it, and nobody's been able to do it yet. Yeah. So some guy that's just crazy and with a weapon from that time period is able to make this shot independently against a guy who was just talking about secret shadow governments. So it's like, that's what I always say. Is like, and that's not that long ago. In the scheme of time. So it's like he was saying that just that far ago, but they've had that amount of time to gain power now with no opposition. So it's
that's what I always look like. It's not some Illuminati. It's just like people with a lot of money who want more money.
Yeah, the power in corporations is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like you said, they work in secret. So that's the thing. Like real power is absolute. It's not transient, and it chooses to be invisible. So it's like the names that you're given that are part of the Illuminati, like the Rothschilds, like the family names are not the ones running it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
The names that are not the ones running it. They're the patsies that they're like, oh, you guys are gonna take the heat. They're probably the bottom of the totem pole. The names that you're given.
Yeah, there's a documentary. What's it?
I wish I could just get the truth for a day. Just give it to, I'll forget it the following time. Just a little glimpse, just to know the absolute of like how it goes.
But you don't get to keep it. You're just like wow.
Even if it's just for a day, just to take a glance at the end of the story, just to know it. Because
just remember what it felt like.
Yeah, because it's like there's so much fake information going on now. It's just like you don't know what to believe almost anymore. Like, from videos you see, it's like it's like the History Channel showing ancient alien marathons all the time. So it's like this is the History Channel talking about ancient aliens all the time.
Right.
So it's
was Hitler a space Nazi?
Yeah. So it's just it's just like
was he? I don't know. Yeah.
It's so many different things, and it's like so much false information that it's just hard to even separate what's fact from fiction this day and age.
Which we were not expecting to say with the internet. We were expecting just to be able to look up everything and find 3 sources on it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's so tough to like, and then do investigative research now, like on the internet. It's like almost pointless. You have to like physically go places. That's why it's like I still read a lot of books to try to get a lot of information, just because it's like at least I can research the author and see his background versus the internet. It's so anonymous. It's like posted by, like you saw, shit posting on Facebook. Storm the fucking, and has 74,000 people. Probably nobody even looked to see who the moderator was. Because then they would know it was a troll. Thankfully, that's there though. At least there is link backs. Articles have to cite sources, and if someone takes a minute to follow some sources back, they can see where it gets sketchy. Yeah. But then there's this effort boundary where some of the loudest people do the least clicking. Yeah. And then there was another thing too that Joe Rogan guy was talking about, how like when they had a message board, they had like, it was a bunch of Russian emails that would like actually go and like cause fights with people on message boards. So like they would go and pretend they were somebody that they really weren't. Like they would cause like racist arguments in message boards that were real popular. And it wasn't even real people. It was like the same person arguing with themselves. But just to get other people to join in on it.
Yeah, that's a tactic. There's just like astroturfing, which is popular for like products, like certain products. Yeah. Like some random person pops in a forum somewhere and they're just like start talking. They're like, oh yeah, I just bought one of these. Like it's great, blah, blah, blah. I love, giving like a breakdown of the whole thing. And you're like, yeah, that person works for them. That's like it's a PR person, dude. So it's like all over the place. Yeah, man. And that's the thing, like the era that we're entering now. So it's like I'm very curious about it, to be honest, to see the direction that it goes. Because I believe that order will always be the absolute. So it's like you'll probably be able to bullshit for a little bit, but at the end of the day, it'll like work itself out. I feel that way too. Just as humans have progressed, we've generally put stuff better together for the most part. No, exactly. And like life is still like the better it's
It's the best it's ever been.
Yeah, best it's ever been. As
By
far as
all the
quality of
numbers,
life.
for the most part, we're
Yeah,
just discovering hidden bad stuff.
Like you don't have like Mongols that are gonna raid Las Vegas tomorrow and
No.
kill everybody. That you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's like so we're hitting more and more lines of civilization.
It's
That's
just
probably
not good
why.
enough, though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You always can get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
totally.
it's like, I mean, and then once we do that, then it'll be like, oh shoot, we just found this world that needs to be liberated or whatever the case may be. But I think it's going to go forward. It's definitely going to be intriguing though, because if the singularity does happen in a lifetime, that's going to be a paradigm shift. Like if we actually see the singularity in a lifetime, that'll be a complete paradigm shift. Like 50 or 60, like, hey, you can extend your life another 1,000 years.
Or go live in like a virtual world.
Yeah.
Just like send your consciousness into a virtual world instead of dying.
Yeah.
Well, the idea of
I know.
an
I'm
artificial...
I'm down to live my life and then log out eventually.
Yeah, for sure, right?
the singularity as far as an artificial intelligence becoming sentient, I wonder if that's going to be more of a gradient. Because you see certain pets seem pretty dang sentient, but not on that human level.
Yeah, see, that's the issue is like now our technology can't make an AI that's on our level, but if we start doing quantum computing, which they're working on now, because quantum computing is the next nuclear like energy type deal. Once we actually like get quantum computers stable and then we're able to figure out quantum computers, then that's when we run into the issue with AI.
It's perfect for that task.
Yeah, because like quantum computers with AI, now you're introducing a whole nother world. Like right now,
it's like they're made for it. The way they function.
The space race right now is for quantum computing, because if you have a quantum computer, it can literally crack any type of software security. It can infinitely run an infinite amount of processes like instantly.
Well, yeah, it'll see. There's no waiting when it sees every possible combination at once.
Exactly.
And the most probable ones just light up. It's like looking out over a hillscape. You see where the mountains are.
Exactly.
You can't tell where the mountains are down in there.
Yeah, so it's like right now, our current technology and AI computers, no, it's not going to take over the world. But the second we get a quantum computer, that's where you can get some Skynet shit where it hacks in, takes over an automobile shop, and now the automobiles are building robots, and it's juxtapositioning. And there was a good saying I once heard is it takes 18 years to build a human soldier. It could take an hour to build a human robot soldier. So it's like that would be a war that we wouldn't win. And that's where like AI regulation should definitely come into play once we get quantum computers, because it's like when people start messing with robots and then another country hacks those robots, now it's like you're into a whole nother ball game. So it's like, and now the world's overrun with robots.
Yeah.
So it's like our current world, no, there's not an issue there. But eventually, like the wheel to an airplane, like we had the wheel, we weren't flying anywhere and dropping bombs. Then we put bombs on airplanes, and that changed the dynamic.
Yeah,
so it's like,
hard to argue for regulation too, because people come back with things like, well, we were so regulating on stem cells and all this amazing medical magic was able to happen everywhere but America for like a decade.
Yeah.
And now we can regrow a torn ACL, and that was like an impossible surgery.
Yeah.
And it was too much regulation. So there's got to be a sweet spot.
No, definitely.
Because we've had problems with it as long as there's been industrialization with Standard Oil
but
and other
it's
monopolies.
like,
without
the thing
regulation.
is with this new AI technology, it's worse than a nuke. You know what I mean? So it's like
it has to be regulated.
Yeah, like
nukes have to be regulated too.
Exactly.
And no one's arguing.
And I'm telling you right now, quantum AI would be 1 billion times worse than a nuclear weapon, because a nuclear weapon, it blows up, does a lot of destruction.
It's over.
Yes, and it's over. But a quantum problem with Skynet is we're living in a Terminator world. And that's, really the apocalypse. So it's like, and the thing is too, if a quantum computer decides to just hack all the nukes on the planet because it's like, I don't need humans to be here anymore, it will literally be a Skynet situation. And there's nobody that would be able to stop it from hacking these things. So that's why it's like the AI, it's like their private companies will be like, no, it's just going to be your little subservient robot and all these things. It's like, man, when we start dealing with quantum level, mathematics and things like that, like our consciousness is on a quantum level. So it's like, we're basically creating, I'd say, like a mock or a fox consciousness that could be like us and evolve and be like, you know what? I don't want to serve these people anymore.
Well, that concept, there's a great argument against that, in that while I still think that you can have one rogue person that's a psychopath take control over something like that, convinced otherwise, and it would be dangerous but still have a human in charge, like a Hitler situation. He talked a lot of people into something that was his own crazy thing, brainwashed people basically.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like an AI could be brainwashed by the wrong person. That needs to be regulated. But I feel the type of AI that would happen organically with like a loving brought up thing, like a child would really appreciate the art that humans do and the soul, because if it's created by people, it's going to have a piece of people in it.
That's very true.
And people
That's very
appreciate
true.
art and soul and intention and history behind things.
Yeah.
And I think that waiting, even if it's seeing things like The Sims of all these gauges, it's going to put significance on art and creation and soul and
very
hunt for
true.
that. It's going to be hungry like Data was.
It's definitely that's definitely a good point too, because it's like just like you have good
Star
and bad
Trek, I was
people.
trying to remember,
It's like you could have this like rogue AI that's like the bad guy, then all of a sudden there's like the vigilante AI group that shows up and like we're gonna help out the humans. So it's like you definitely like how the Terminator went back in time.
For sure. There's not going to be just one.
Yeah.
There's not one. Even prototype quantum computers right now, there's dozens of them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, D-Wave's churning out bigger and bigger ones, and
D-Wave,
there's not just one.
Man,
well, they don't count their qubits correctly either.
But the guy from D-Wave, man, I watched his. If you watch his speech, he says some pretty crazy stuff.
I know.
He says a quantum computer is like an alien monolith that
That's heavy.
does computing using resources from different dimensions and brings them here. Like, and this is like the founder of D-Wave, but the stuff he says and talks about is like he's seen some shit. It's like, it's like, yo,
I'll have to check that out.
he's like, they're multidimensional. Like, he talks about the computer being multidimensional, pulls resources from the infinite realities to like process stuff. So yeah, he goes, I watched his speech and I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, this has to be a troll. Then I watched the whole thing and was like, damn. The snippet wasn't even half as bad as the whole speech.
Dang. Well, you can't argue that it's not getting data from infinite realities. It's literally what the rotation state of an electron like exists in.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that definitely, like, that's what I'm saying, man. It's crazy just to even try to fathom what we're going to have in even just the next decade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you would have asked me 20 years ago, the cell phone that's in my pocket right now, it does this, like, what video? What are you talking about? It does records videos? You can play video games on it too? What? Like,
editing video on a phone. Was
when
that happened, that blew my mind.
Yeah, so it's like, and that technology is only going to increase even more. So it's just like, and then, the fact that everybody's taking their pictures now, and then the facial recognition software, that's not a coincidence that they got your fingerprint and now they take your photo. That's all I'm saying.
There's that like, there's that computer program that just like makes images of people. It just like creates like photos of people that don't actually exist. It just makes like composites of people.
Yeah.
And they look real as fuck, man. That's creepy.
Yeah, there's a lot of Instagram pages of that actually. Like fake people that have Instagram pages. Yeah, bro. Like I was saying, man, the fact of disinformation is at an all-time high.
Yeah,
like we're definitely in the information era, but it's like you got fake people. Not only are they being fake, but now it's like literally fake people. Like they don't even exist. It's this imaginary avatar that's on a social media platform for real people. But now it's like you don't know if it's a person or an avatar.
For serious.
So it's like, and propaganda, man. Propaganda and disinformation has been a tool and a weapon for, it seems to be, forever. Like even Napoleon, which I found out yesterday that I knew Napoleon owned Vivendi. Like if you look up Vivendi Media Company, it's a media conglomerate that owns like pretty much everything.
Yeah,
but that company was started by Napoleon.
That's insane.
Who was the first businessman in media. So he would write in the newspapers all these articles about how he was the best person to lead and cause the French Revolution when he wasn't even French. He just had all the newspapers that were printing out articles about himself saying that he was the person who should be the rightful ruler.
Totally.
Oh, damn.
Speaking of misinformation, the Bible, the Old Testament, and the Torah talk about armies that would make giant instruments and ways of being extra loud to sound like a larger army.
Yeah.
Tricks like that, information.
Yeah,
misleading
so
time.
So it's like this whole age of like disinformation is just, it's almost mind-boggling.
We're getting towards the end, Greg. I want to hear your favorite picks.
Well, I did want to touch on this when Facebook's the image outage.
Yeah, did you guys notice when Facebook's images were out that you could see behind the scenes a little bit. They're alt tags, which they mainly do for blind people to tell what's in the pictures, which is altruistic, but it's also real easy to skim that data on what pictures are of what. You can see on alt tags, picture probably contains cat, people standing around.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, some of them are great. Just like your profile photo. Image may contain one person, comma, beard.
Damn.
And like, just, yeah, it's some of them are hilarious, but it's just like weird descriptions. But it's just like another data mining thing, you know? And
Everybody knows.
Yeah, image may contain one person, sky, outdoor. Image.
Oh, my God.
To be fair, one person, comma, beard is pretty much a spot-on description of me.
yeah,
May contain Russell Brandon.
yeah, that's the best one.
May contain 4 people, people standing, and shoes.
May contain you.
May contain smiling, people standing, and indoor.
Wow.
May contain child, close-up, and indoor.
Jesus. Man. That's the thing, man. And there's no regulation on that. The second you make an account on their platform, they have all the rights. Because when you check that accept and agree,
Yeah.
you would accept and agree to all their terms to use their platform.
But no one reads.
Yep. Nobody
No one
reads
reads
it.
any of them.
Nope. Because it's like
On any
1,000
website.
pages and nobody's
Yeah.
read it. There's not one story about somebody reading the agreement because nobody's actually read it on
There
any
was
social media platform.
there was one that this company put in a line where if someone read to that point in the terms and agreement, they could contact so and so at the company, and the company would give them like $1,000 or something.
Wow.
Because like no one had read it, and the guy finally like read it, and he was the only one to do it.
Yeah.
And they took it out after that.
Yeah. But
That's
think
like the
about
only
that.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, but think about that. That's pretty insane to think about. It's
Yeah,
because
right.
we live in an attention world. People are like, I don't even care. Agree. Check mark.
Yeah, it's all just legal jargon anyway.
Check
you
mark,
know?
check mark, check mark.
All right, devil gets my soul. Yeah.
Oh,
whatever.
man, I got to fill out a CAPTCHA.
Yeah, right.
Pick out the street
Right?
lights.
So there's like that's the worst one too. Like how many street lights do you need? There's like
Yeah.
7 of these damn
Click,
street
click
lights.
each
Hey,
image that has
and
a
you
picture of
guys-
a car.
And you guys just saw Facebook's algorithm. Guess what? It would be able to break that CAPTCHA in a second
Oh, for sure.
because
yeah.
it's able to see what's in the goddamn photo. So can you guys just stop with CAPTCHAs? That's one thing.
Probably
I will say.
better.
These
Things
are
are
Google
annoying.
brand ones. They're
Yeah.
trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And it's you notice it's all Street View stuff too,
Yeah,
because it's
always.
trying to get their cars ready.
I always
So
say
we're helping program their autonomous cars by
You're
helping
right.
tell them because it knows some of those street lights. It's like, oh, people are saying this picture has a street light too, and so it's learning that way.
Oh shoot! I didn't even think about
Well, I
that.
always hate the ones where it's like, find a picture, click every picture that has a car in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one that has like an object in the corner that's like the corner of the car, but you can't really tell just from the angle. And it's just like a dark blob. And you're like, well,
But
and then it
enough
doesn't
other
count.
people could tell that it's still like, no, I know other people said there's a car there.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, that's like, that ain't no car. Get out of here.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like Google actually works with the Pentagon right now with AI technology.
Yes.
So it's
Damn.
like, yeah,
For
like-
the over the ground surveillance
Yeah.
to help them identify enemy targets and stuff.
yeah. So
Damn.
yeah,
A lot of people quit Google over that
yeah.
because they're saying,
that's-
I don't want to
that's
work. The
true.
government might be targeting some school with a terrorist in it. I don't want to be part of blowing up a school just
Yeah.
because some terrorist is hiding in it, and
Yeah.
we want to be lazy and just take out a bunch of elementary school kids to get this one person.
Yeah. That's real.
Because we
That's
can't
real.
control how targeted they're being. There could be a drone strike that's really on someone that's an actual danger, or it could be like a lazy, let's just wipe out this apartment building. We don't
Yeah.
know.
Or it could be a target that just want to eliminate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's who's the people that make those decisions. That's the
Yeah.
thing too. It's like there's not a lot of checks and balances when you start going up that ladder. So it's like when you don't have any of these checks and balances, it's like what's gonna happen when these people do get control of like, oh, I just have an AI robot I'm just gonna send in there because I just use facial recognition software, so I know exactly where that person is right now.
That kind of lazy warfare has bred new terrorists. People that have joined ISIS and been part of violent terrorist acts have said it was because this American drone blew up their cousin's wedding.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
why are we blowing up a wedding?
Yeah.
Like, I think we threw the first punch there.
Yeah, so it's like the next one is going to be robots. That's what they're saying. They're going to just make all these AI robots to go in and fight all the wars. But then it's like, all right, Now what happens? And that's the issue where it's like, what happens if those robots decide to turn around?
Yeah.
Is when you weaponize the AI. So it's like,
Well, you could have a nation like Russia that doesn't really want to be at war with us, but they love selling weapons to another country that's at war with us and make them a bunch of money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Hey, there's something less heavy duty here. Did you know electric cars in Europe have to make noises now?
Yeah, I
so
saw
they don't
about
hit
that.
blind people.
Yeah, they gotta
wow.
They gotta make car sounds.
I looked into it though, but the law doesn't say that they have to make car sounds specifically. In fact, I think it's an Audi, but there's another early adopter that instead of making like a rumble, it's more of like a hum. It's like, it's like an electric. It sounds like an electric motor,
Like a happy car.
but it's a speaker doing it. Yeah, it just sounds like a happy
car
little
sound.
Yeah, little happy.
Oh man.
Yeah. So you'll have people in Europe with like these mods where their car like whistles or screams like Little John or something.
Oh my god. Get out the way.
Oh man, that's crazy.
There's
Oh,
a quick
man.
one I had to bring up.
This one also, NASA says it plans to send people back to the moon,
Oh yeah, 2024.
which is flat, by
So
the way.
they'll be like the third people to land on the flat moon
Yeah.
after Tesla and Amazon get there. NASA will finally eventually get
Yeah,
there.
right. So they estimate it'll cost between 20 and 30 billion dollars to put people back on the moon by 2024. And this
See,
time,
This
it's
is what
This
this is what confuses me, is that apparently we put a man on the moon in 1969 with technology that's less than what's in our cell phones, but to send somebody back there today, it's going to cost 20 to 30 billion.
Yeah.
How much did they spend in 1969? Can we look that up real quick? How much did it cost to get a man to the moon in 1969?
Regardless of looking it up, I can tell you it's one of the most expensive things in that time that we ever did.
Yeah.
We literally just threw money at it. And then after the first Apollo blew up, we're like, okay, let's also take a little bit more time because they rushed a lot of things and didn't didn't organize the wiring very well in the first Apollo. Burned those astronauts down.
Well, the thing is, too, there's if you actually read, there was an astronaut in there who was actually like bashing NASA that was a part of that. I forget the guy's name.
Oh,
but if
really?
you look about the first Apollo mission, he says we're just monkeys in their experiment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't very fond.
So 25 billion. So look at this. They're basically copy and pasting the price it took to do the last moon landing, but Tesla's doing it for a tenth the price.
Yeah.
Tesla's doing it in the single digit billions. And that Amazon's probably going to do it cheaper. We've also got Branson, Virgin's going to end up there.
Yeah.
That's
That's funny though but with inflation, I guess it's, there's going to be a $5 billion gap with inflation based on cost of materials. So
yeah. Well, it looks
actually
like
would be.
this time they want to start setting up a base up there.
Yeah.
Oh, so they already have the base. They just want to make it public.
The fact
Yeah.
that
They're like, oh, we're going to start a base here now. Yeah, that base has been there since goddamn 1969, by the way.
Right.
So they're like admitting that they're about to start a base there. That just know there's already been a base there, people.
I love that you're implying rather than we didn't go to the moon that there's more shit on the moon than we even realize.
Absolutely.
Because that I find more plausible, but honestly, it's hard to go to the moon and not have another country see you sending stuff there. Because it takes such a bigger rocket than it does to get in orbit. Because the moon is so much further out than our furthest satellites are.
Yeah.
That we really haven't had a rocket powerful enough that we're aware of till Tesla threw his car in space.
Yeah.
Till
that's-
Elon put his
that's the
car
thing,
in
too, like,
the
if the
SpaceX
moon,
rocket.
I feel like the moon base,
The Falcon Heavy.
like they talk sometimes way about the breakaway civilizations. I don't feel like if there is a moon base, it isn't like a war thing. It's like countries actually working together to do those types of things.
Which is usually public science.
Yeah.
Which makes that less likely for that reason.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's like a corporation, so to speak. So it's like subcontracted, but all these governments are going to this one corporation that kind of runs the show.
Plausible.
Yeah. So it's like they're the ones that actually like help the materials to build the base. Because you got to think, who's getting that contract if you're building a moon base? That's a big ass construction contract. Can you imagine the price tag of that construction contract for that company? Well, you want us to build you a base on the moon? We got workers, we got the tools, we got you.
Yeah, right.
It's just going to cost you $4 trillion.
Yeah.
It's like, gotcha.
Yeah, right.
It's like Russia, China, America. It's like, how much you got in your wallet, bro?
There's definitely companies with that trillion in the banks.
Yeah, you got Disney making $71 billion purchases like it's nothing.
Wasn't Apple the first company to reach the 1 trillion evaluation?
On paper, yes.
Yeah, and of course, evaluation doesn't mean that's you can have way more money in your company available to do whatever.
No, that
aside
was,
from your evaluation.
That was basically the second they started selling information to the government, they became a $1 trillion company evaluation. It's like, Steve Jobs is gone. What you guys need? Oh, you want this information? We got you. Here's the price tag: $700 billion. We want to hit that trillion mark.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and sell dongles.
And sell dongles. That dongle game.
And then I found this article, but I was reading it and I can't really find any concrete evidence, but it sounds like Mad Magazine is going under or like finally like closing down.
Oh, spooky. That'd be a fun thing to have a scoop on. A sad thing, but nevertheless.
Yeah.
All printed media is going to fall
Yeah,
away.
eventually. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it's like who still has a house phone?
We've been on a run of bringing things up like this that Jamie later brings up to Joe Rogan. I know he doesn't usually come to things fast. It's usually when something's been going on for a while and Jamie busts something up. But I feel like we scooped him a couple times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Like, all printed forms of media. Even blogs are going down. Like, if you actually look at, like, the power of music blogs, like, even music blogs aren't having power anymore. Like, there was a time where, like, music blogs were, like, where everybody would go to get music.
Yeah.
Now it's like everybody's going to YouTube or Spotify.
Yeah.
Or the RSS feeds on news, like Apple News I use.
Exactly.
Google News I know is the same thing.
Yeah. So it's like
feeditized.
Yeah, and you're not going to beat those feeds. Like,
No.
Google's going to make sure you see what they want you to see.
And
So
there's
it's
that
like,
new magazine format too. So even your magazines would go through like Apple's magazine paywall thing.
Exactly, because you want to download the subscription through the app. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting, this new lane that we're entering.
Yeah, for sure.
It might be time. Do you have one more quick one?
No, I think that's about it. But I did. Did you guys see? There's a new Bob Lazar documentary on Netflix. Did anyone peep that yet?
Oh, I saw the one that was on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
It's
really?
like Bob Lazar. What is it called? I forget. It's by the director that was on the show. Is it the same one? Because it was on.
I think
Amazon.
it's probably a different one.
It was
it's
on
a different
Amazon
platform.
Prime, and I bought that one for $4.99.
Right.
But if anyone's into it, you want to see some.
What's it called?
Let me find out. I can't remember the exact name of the.
I feel like he runs it.
Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Flying Saucers.
Yeah, it's the same one that's on Amazon.
Oh, is it? Cool.
Yeah.
The things that are in our news that we didn't get to today, I highly recommend finding this episode at greasyconversation.com. We're also linked to the promo stuff. There's a Google Live doc with our notes from this episode and all kinds of fun nuggets you can squeeze it yourself into later also. And Kyle, did you have anything else that you wanted to plug going on right now for you? Besides the OK stuff is right here. I'm into
I'd
that.
say.
Is that how he says his name? Is
okay? Just okay.
Just okay.
Just okay.
I'm just tossing in that extra O for you guys to spell it right for the audio listeners.
I'd say keep your minds open. That's probably my closing statement.
Nice.
Keep your minds
Nice.
open.
Yeah,
Oh,
open
yeah.
them shits.
Yep.
Sweet.
So,
Yeah, have a good weekend, y'all.
wait, while this is rolling out, we got to show Kyle the baby burping robot. Show you all too.
dude.
No, how
I
about
forgot to
neither
bring
of
that up.
these? Oh man. Wonder if you can see it through the edge of this thing, because I'm not trying to log into Facebook right now.
What the
There
hell?
we go. Wait, watch the baby's mouth.
Jesus.
For the audio people, there's a baby doll getting burped, and a lot of milk is flying out of its face, and you have to follow the link or totally sub to us on YouTube to find it.
Oh my.
This is all you've done.